Welcome to Alpha Marketing, your go-to resource for unlocking the full potential of your small to medium-sized business. Hosted by Aaron Shishilla, CEO of Wolfpack Advising. Now, let's learn how to dominate your market.
Hello and welcome back to Marketing Alpha. It has been almost a year, or nearly a year, since we've launched the Marketing Alpha podcast. And because of that, I wanted to do something a little bit special in this particular podcast episode. If you probably read the title because you clicked on this, I am actually giving away our full setup on how we set up a Google search ad account. One of our first episodes was actually talking about Google local service ads because even in 2024, Google local service ads was still relatively new, and that was one of our more popular episodes. Everybody wanted to know, how do you set up a Google local service ad account? And today, Google local service ads has definitely become more competitive. I'm going to touch on a little bit, some reworks to that particular podcast, so we'll mention that a little bit. But I'm going to give away our exact plan and how we set up a Google search ad account in this particular episode. I wouldn't be surprised if during this episode, my wife breaks in down the door. If you're watching this on video, you can see the door behind me. I wouldn't be surprised if she breaks down this door mid-podcast and says, "What the heck are you doing?" Because I'm going to give it all away. Anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. I have a tab open actually right now of one of our Google ad accounts, and I'm just going to talk about it. The funny thing is, in the marketing world or for marketing agencies, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but in marketing agencies, in the world, there's a lot of marketing agencies that actually don't even share access to their Google ad accounts. They call it proprietary information, so they just don't share it at all because they don't want to give away their strategy or how they set up Google ad accounts. And to that, I say, that's bogus. The reason being is because your Google ad account for a business owner is like an asset. It's like a website. You need to own that Google ad account. So if you don't own that Google ad account, you don't own your strategy. You don't own your own marketing. You don't own your own advertising. Why would I have to build a business and make myself ultimately withheld by this marketing agency? You should hire a marketing agency that's going to be a partner with you, share things, talk about what's working, what's not, and not be afraid of, customers leaving and taking their ideas and everything else. So anyway, I went off on a little bit of a tangent there. Before we get into the actual Google search ad account, I did want to talk about the Google local service ad episode. If you haven't taken a listen to that particular episode, go take a listen. But I want to give some updates about what's going on with Google local service ads since it's been a year and a lot of things have changed. And so let's jump into that first. So a couple of things to know about Google local service ads. It's becoming increasingly expensive and increasingly competitive. So what does that mean for you? Well, ultimately what this means for you is you have to be on the top of your game with Google local service ads. It is not easy money anymore. Sure, we have clients that are actually located within really rural areas and really rural states, and they have decent reviews, they answer the phone, and they just crush it. But I'm talking my companies that are in South Florida, Orlando, Texas, and those key cities in Texas. You know who you are. Southern California, San Francisco, those big cities, Boston, those big cities where you have a lot of groupings of home service businesses, whether you're a home inspector, pest control, whatever, and you're in a competitive market, man, you have it cut out for you. Even real estate agents. I've seen the same thing with real estate agents as well. The way that you get around this and the way that you actually perform well in these competitive markets, number one, know that the price is going to go up and it's not an agency's fault. The entire thing is an auction. So as everybody wants to get more business and everybody's bidding, the price goes up for everybody. The moment people are nervous about the economy and are not advertising because they realize it's ineffective, the price comes down. So persistence is also a little bit of a key here because you're going to have months like in the summer for a lot of industries where it spikes up, right? And you're going to have the months where leading into, especially this fall right now, August, September, October, leading into those particular months where people are scraping to get more business, right? But the volume has dropped off. So they're still kind of cash infused because of the summer months. and they're trying to bid, so the price goes up because the volume goes down. Anyway, supply, demand, all that stuff. This show isn't about economies, but you kind of get the point there. So that being said, with Google local service ads, if you are a newer business, I want you to focus primarily on a couple things. Number one, most importantly, your Google rating, review rate, and the amount of reviews. You have to get that up. You need to have at least a 4.8 star rating. It depends, obviously, on the industry. For example, Home Inspection World, 4.8 is the minimum. You need a 4.9 in Home Inspection World. Same thing with real estate agents. Comparatively, in Pest Control World, you need a little bit lower. It really just depends on your individual market and who you're comparing yourself against. Well, who the consumer is comparing you against, right? So just keep that in mind about the actual rating. But the review count also matters. The more reviews you have, the higher rating that you have, the likelihood that Google is going to place you at the top, because consumers are going to be interested in calling you over some other Joe Schmo that has 3 reviews. Well, at least 5 reviews, because you need at least 5 to advertise on Google local service ads. So I want you to focus primarily on reviews, getting as many reviews as possible. I can't stress that enough. Number 2 is, if you are advertising with Google local service ads, you have to pick up the phone and answer every message as quickly as possible. And let me tell you this, if you are a single person, single business, it is going to help you so much if you just have somebody answer your phone for you. Just try. Trust me on this. It's worth it. Hire your son, your daughter, your wife, your husband, whoever, to just pick up the phone for you and pretend like they are a receptionist, because you are a professional business and you don't make your own schedule. Somebody makes it for you. Anyway, so that's the things about Google local service ads that I needed to mention within this episode to kind of talk about things that have changed this year. Not a lot has changed on like the actual platform itself or like the strategy, but it's just gotten increasingly competitive. So you need to keep those things in mind. So with that being said, we're 7 minutes into this thing. Let's kick off my actual strategy on how I set up a Google ad account. One quick thing too, because my wife is seriously going to break in here and be like, why'd you post this podcast and you're a dummy and all that stuff. Please leave me a rating. Please share this podcast episode. Please do all of that. Text me or email me and say how much you appreciate it. And then I can go to her and be like, hey, look how amazing it was. And if you want to sign up for services, absolutely. Request a proposal on our website. Maybe you could do Google Ads by yourself, but maybe you can work with us on social media, on SEO, on your web design, all this stuff, email marketing, because we're good at all the digital marketing stuff. Anyway, all right, finally we're getting into it. So I'm going to open up a random campaign within our account here. And I'm going to open up a random campaign of a home service company. Obviously, you can't see it because I'm not going to share it because this is their particular information, but I'm going to break down exactly what we're doing within it. Let's go with, I like this one. Let's go with this one. I like this company. It's one of my favorite companies. Okay, so the first thing, what I'll say is when you're setting up your Google search ad account, you have to do 2 main things. Number 1, get through the onboarding process as quickly as possible. They have like this onboarding like campaign, like go through the steps. Skip all that, fill in as much junk as possible because that crap sucks. That's what I tell our team when our team's getting trained, they skip through all of that and they get right to the real stuff. Once you do that step and you get through all the onboarding stuff of creating campaign, because it's going to be like, oh, use AI to create an ad, or these are the recommended keywords and all that stuff. You skip all that. Then the next thing that you need to do is flip it from smart mode to expert mode. And if you're not familiar with that, you could just do a quick Google search. But it's usually at the very top bar. You go to settings or something like that, or you switch views and you're going to flip it to expert mode. You need to have expert mode turned on. You cannot use smart mode. Okay, Google will waste your money if you use smart mode. So you need to go to expert mode. Once in expert mode, I'm going to talk about the navigation and we're going to click into each one. What I typically like to do is work my way backwards. So I'm going to start a particular campaign and then I'm going to work backwards bottom to top on the menu structure on the far left-hand side. Okay, so if you're looking at your Google Ads platform now, if you're going to save this for later and come back to it, if you're taking notes or whatever, just know we're looking on the left side menu. And right now, the very bottom one for me is change history. Obviously, there's the far left navigation with like admin in like account settings, but I'm talking about the actual campaign. So once you have your campaign done, in terms of like you actually have a draft and it's not started, that's all we need. We've gone through the onboarding process. We're in expert mode. Now we're actually ready to get going. And the first question I want you to ask yourself is, what are we advertising for? Simple enough question. What are we advertising for? The reason why this is so important because this is the way that we need to set up our particular campaigns. Okay? We're not going to let Google decide how we're setting up these campaigns. We are going to be intentional about how we're setting up these campaigns and our strategy. The reason why this is so important is with Google Ads, everything is driven by search intent. What a consumer is searching for and what do they want, and we're going to deliver them that particular information. So let's talk about any home service thing. Electricians, plumbers, home inspectors, pest control, realtors, whatever. You might have a bunch of different services that you offer. You know, you're in pest control, you're in home inspections. You might be like, well, I do mold testing. Or, yeah, I could do an inspection on an HVAC unit and all this. And you might think, let me just throw everything in there. No, wrong. You need, and what I would recommend right now for you is a campaign per service you want to advertise for. And by per service, I mean we're grouping a set of keywords of one particular service type that consumers know about that are searching. Not what you know about, but what consumers are searching for. We'll get into the keywords here in a little bit, but keep that in the back of your mind. We need a campaign per service that consumers are searching for. So, really good example of this. Home inspection world. Consumers don't know that with a home inspection, they need, if they're in Florida, that they need a wind mitigation, a 4-point, and a WDO inspection. They don't know that, right? In pest control world, you might know that they need this type of Centricon termite treatment, right? And you might think that. Or you might upsell this particular service as well. Don't advertise for the upsells. Advertise for the main draw or the main service that they know about, and then you're going to rely on the office to sell the ancillaries and upsells, okay? So now that we have that out of the way, we're building a campaign for one particular service that the consumer is searching for. We have that in our head. Let's work backwards. So the first thing that we need to do when we're building our campaign is ad schedule. Ad schedule is above chain history in the tab called Audiences, Keywords, and Content. We're not doing advanced bid adjustments in this talk. That's not my goal for this. My goal is to get you set up on a campaign that's effective, that's working. That would be one that I would recommend myself. So ad schedule. Ad schedule is very important here because this is when our ads are going to run. And we don't want to show ads or advertisements when we're getting spam or we're not able to take the lead. So if we get a phone call at 2 a.m., but nobody's in the office, well, we just missed a lead and we missed a huge opportunity there. So it's better just to set up an ad schedule for when you have somebody available to pick up the phone, okay? So set your ad schedule here. If you're working Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, that's your ad schedule. If that's when somebody is in the office, that's your ad schedule. I talk to a lot of companies that come to me and they say, well, I'm 24 hours. I'll pick up the phone anytime. That's bullshit. I'm sorry to lie or to say a swear word there, but everybody needs to sleep, okay? And I don't care who you are, 6, 7 p.m. dinner time, right? You don't want to answer the phone. I don't want to answer the phone. I want to have dinner, right? I want to 8 p.m., chill out, watch Netflix, sit on the sofa, not think about work, decompress, right? So we need to be intentional about this particular ad schedule. I need to hit that home with you. Don't set it for 24 hours because you're not going to be available for 24 hours. Next tab up, locations. Location, right? This one is fun. For locations, if you're a service area business, put in the counties you service. I don't want zip codes. I don't want cities. I want counties. Only put in the counties. So if you're looking at the map, once you put in the counties, you should only see blue. Everything else should be white. I don't want any exclusions. Again, I don't want any zip codes. I don't want any cities. I just want you to put counties. The reason for that is very specific. The reason for zip codes, you're going to be all day like adding zip codes. It's not worth your time. It's really not. Same thing with cities. There's also a lot of advertisement restrictions when you go through zip codes, depending on your specific industry, such as real estate agents. It's a big no-no. You can't do that. You can't target zip codes in real estate. So same thing in home inspections. It could be yes or no, depending on that, depending on Google's mood that day. But do counties. Way easier to manage. Way easier to do. And don't add any exclusions. Now, in campaign settings, so if you're still on the locations tab and you're hanging with me right here, in campaign settings on the top right, there's a little cogwheel for campaign settings. If you go click into that, there's another tab about locations. You're going to have to scroll a little bit. Let's see if I can find it. Yep, other settings, you're going to scroll down to the bottom. Click that locations drop down. There is one particular setting here that I need to talk about. You're going to click open locations. Then within the locations drop down, there's another one for location options. They make it super hidden here on purpose. It says here, include. You have two options, presence or interest, or presence. So what that means is, do I want to include people that have an interest in my location, or just people that are physically present in my location? If I'm a pest control company or a actual home service company where they need to own the home within the location, presence is okay to do. You're not going to be steered completely wrong by doing presence or interest. It's not going to be that big of a deal. In home inspection world, I would not recommend presence. I would do presence or interest because people are moving from out of state, moving all over the place. They may not be located within your service area, but they're searching for Home Inspector Chicago right now. Okay. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, that is locations. The next tab up is audiences. We're not talking about audiences today for this. I don't want you to worry about audiences. That's not the goal of this particular podcast. And generally for most people, you don't really need it if you're just setting up a general like Google search ad campaign. Fight me about it. Now, next up is keywords. This is by far one of the most important pieces here with keywords. So with keywords, we're going to do a little trick, a little hack. Whatever keywords you have there, remove them. Get rid of them. I don't want them. We don't need them. Okay? You're not going to use any keywords. No, just kidding. You're going to use keywords. So on the very far left, you're going to go to Tools. Then you're going to go to Planning. Then you're going to go to Keyword Planner. And then you're going to go to Discover New Keywords. You're going to click that. And then you're going to type in whatever primary keyword you're using. So in this case, this might be Home Inspector near me or Pest Control near me. Click the little location to specify your service area. So if you're in the Tampa Bay region, you can actually just put Tampa and it pops up with the DMA region for Tampa. You click save. And then if you wanted to, you could put in your website there to filter unrelated keywords. I generally don't, but then you click get results. After that, it gives you all the perfect keywords right in front of you with the actual search volumes in your area. Now remember here, we are doing one service per one campaign. So everything about this that I'm doing in this particular example is home inspectors near me. About people looking for home inspections. Not crawl space, not 4-point, not building inspectors. That's completely different. Not structural inspections, not electrical inspections, not attic inspections. Home inspections. Okay, so we need to be very specific about that. And I want you to pick the best 10 to 20 keywords that you see in this list that are about your particular service. If I'm in pest control, and I'm doing pest control near me, the only stuff you should be worrying about is pest control here. Don't throw in termites. Don't throw bed bugs in here. Don't throw all that other stuff. This is only one on pest control. If you want to do bed bugs or termites or rodents or anything else, you need a separate campaign for it. So you're going to click the little checkbox that says add it or like check it off on the far left-hand side, and I'm doing this with you. You're going to get 10 to 20 of the best ones with volume. Maybe you look at trends, right? Be specific. And then from there, you're going to click the little more tab. There's a little blue tab once you check off your 10 to 20. There's a little more with 3 dots, and you're going to click add to accounts. And you're going to go ahead and add them to that campaign in that ad group. So going back, when you go to add it, you're going to add it to the campaign that we're just talking about. You're going to add it to the ad group that we're just working in. And if you're not familiar with ad groups, get familiar with ad groups. Essentially, you have campaigns, which is what we're working in. Then campaigns can have multiple ad groups. Ad groups are like different keyword sets. We are doing one campaign, one ad group. Okay, so there's only one ad group within this. And then you're going to add all your keywords. And for the match type, Google's going to want to give you broad. Don't do broad. Don't do it. Especially if you have a limited budget. It's better for higher budgets. You're going to stick to either exact or phrase match. Okay? If you're nervous and you want Google to be restrictive, go to exact. If you have a little bit more money and you're okay with like a little bit of risk, go phrase. But don't go broad unless you're working with a professional. Anyway, now we have our keywords set. Okay, so we should be good there. Next up, assets on the drop down. Add all the assets except. Do not add, there's no reason to add app, so you don't need to add app as an asset. Lead form is kind of like a waste of time right now. Message is a newer one. I wouldn't worry about that one right now. Call is very, very, very important. Add that. Structured snippet, call out, headline descriptions. We'll get into those here in a little bit, but you're going to add as many assets as possible here. Just don't add site link. Do not add site link. We don't want that right now. So add everything else. I will say for headlines and descriptions, those we'll get to in the next step. So you can just add all the other stuff. If you want to, you can actually skip the assets part for now, and we can just jump straight into ads, and then you can come back to assets. It's usually sort of my process because it's a little bit easier. For this part 2, you're going to need to go to the admin section, and then you're going to need to go to account settings. Billing. Go to billing, and then advertiser verification, and make sure you follow the verification process there. That is very important too. Because in order to show your business name and your business logo in assets, you need to be advertiser verified. But everybody has to do it anyway nowadays. So you've added your assets. The phone number, the call one is very important. Use a separate phone number. I'll get into phone numbers here in a little bit. We'll talk about that towards the end when we get into the conversions or whatever. But don't just put your regular office number there. If you are not so comfortable with Google Ads, you're probably going to be like, trying to follow this very closely and everything like that, which, I encourage you to. But when we get talking about conversions, it might get a little bit complicated, so it might be just easier for you to just put in your regular office number. But let's jump to the next one. So we're skipping experiments. Now we're going to ads. We're under the campaigns tab. You need a responsive search ad. So I want you to create at least one of those. You can create 3, right? When you create those, you're going to create like 20 different headlines. For those headlines, you're going to keep them focused around your keywords. So I want them very close to your keywords. I want you to capitalize the first letter at the beginning of each word. Okay? And I want you to think about not only your keywords, but unique selling or unique value propositions about your particular business and call to actions. So get a quote, order online, schedule today, same day availability, same day appointments, same day reports, open 24/7, highly rated. Think that thing, okay? Real expert trick here. Use the curly bracket when you go to create a headline. Curly bracket. And then you can do a keyword insertion, which is really, really cool. Basically, what happens is with that, Google will automatically put in the headline, whatever the consumer searched. So if they searched home inspectors in Tampa, if you use the keyword insertion, it'll put home inspectors in Tampa as the primary headline, which is super neat because that'll make your ad copy really relevant to the search term. So Google will promote you and it'll lower your cost. It'll increase your ad quality and it'll increase your click-through rate and increase the likelihood that you actually get the lead for a lower cost. So definitely do that. Then for your descriptions, you're going to add 4 descriptions per responsive search ad that I just mentioned. Same thing. Do the little curly bracket, do the keyword insertion. Your descriptions are 90 characters, I believe. So with that, you get a lot more space. Again, same kind of thing. Make it clickbaity, but also focus on the keywords that you have put in so that way everything matches. Talk about unique value propositions about you, InterNACHI certified, again, highly rated, all that stuff I kind of previously mentioned. If you're lost here and you're like, I don't know what to do, just Google pest control near me or electricians near me or whatever and see what other people are posting and see what the top ones are showing because those are likely the best ones and you can kind of get some inspiration from those ones. Okay. We have our responsive search ads. We are almost done. So we only need one ad group, so we're not going to edit any ad group. We're already talking about the campaign, and we're within the campaign. So we just need to end on how do we actually set up the conversions and the landing page, and how does that all work? And then what do we do to maintain this and make sure it's really good? Numero uno, if you're like most businesses that are advertising on Google, you care about, so I'm going to go to campaign settings now. So go to the top right and go to campaign settings. But if you are like most people, like most businesses advertising on Google, you care about conversions, you care about leads. And so for the marketing objective, it should be sales or leads, okay? Do not use website traffic or none of the other stuff. Leads or sales. Networks, I want you only to use the Google search network, okay? Do not use the search network or the search partners, and do not include the display network. I don't want you to focus on that right now. Your budget, you need to set at least $500 a month in budget. If you can afford more, do more. That's going to give you enough volume. From there, it'll talk about conversion goals. Because your marketing objective is on sales or leads, you're going to have to set a conversion goal. And your bidding, for the actual bid strategy, you can change the bid strategy under the bidding tab. It needs to be maximize conversions is what I want you to set up for. I don't want you to do any of the other ones. Maximize conversions is going to be the most simple, the best for you right now. But what that means is, and this comes in the critical part of this, the most difficult part. Everything else was easy. This is the more difficult part. You need to sign up with a service like CallRail or What Converts. I don't prefer CallRail. I had bad experience with them. They're expensive and their support was really bad at the time. They might have changed. I don't know. I'm just saying my particular experience. What Converts, I have loved. Their pricing is very fair and their support is top tier. If you work with Wolfpack at all, or you want to work with Wolfpack at all, you can actually partner with us. We save you a lot of money on What Converts accounts, and we manage it so you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. Okay, makes it really awesome for you because you basically get a discount. We're your first line of support. We set everything up for you. It's kind of like a no-brainer, to be honest. But anyway, sign up with What Converts. That's the one I recommend. They're going to give you a call tracking number, and they're going to also track all of your conversions for you, and then they're going to send it automatically back to your Google Ad account. They have help articles for everything, okay? I'm not going to walk through the entire process with that because we'll sit here all day and talk about that. And I would need to share my screen, honestly. They have help articles. If you can read, you should be able to do it, okay? They outline it pretty good, and then again, their support is pretty good, so they should be able to help you. But it's as simple as like clicking the integrate button with your Google Ads and like logging in with your Google Ads account, creating some phone numbers. The most difficult part with everything that we're doing, I didn't mention this earlier, but with your responsive search ads and where we're sending the traffic to, I want you to send the traffic to a web page on your website where users can't click anywhere. So it should show the logo in the top left corner, the phone number in the top right, which should be a tracking number through What Converts. Below that, you should have a nice hero section with a headline, description under that, and then you like a Google badge with your like rating, for example. On the far right hand side of that hero section, we need a form, get a quote. Below all that, I don't care necessarily what it is. You include more detail, include all those keywords that you've mentioned, because that obviously helps. Add some cool images, add some testimonials. That's important too. But my primary focus is on mobile. I want it to look really good to where it's logo, click to call, headline, description, Google rating, and then form. All of that, the form and the phone numbers, this is the most important part, needs to go through What Converts. What Converts will then integrate with your Google Ads account and send the conversion here. So going back to this, the bid strategy has to be maximize conversions, and the conversion goals have to be the ones set by What Converts. What Converts have support articles on this. You can follow those particular instructions. The landing page is the only thing that I'm not really entirely able to easily cover within this podcast as I'm breaking everything down. If you want an episode just about landing pages, I'm telling you, if you guys share this episode or you rate it, I'm telling you, I'm going to look at the analytics and understand, and I will absolutely make one about landing pages, so we can just talk about that for that one. But for the landing pages, the things that I mentioned earlier were the most important part. I need you to make sure that it's really good on mobile, okay? You will know if you look at your landing page on mobile and just really be honest with yourself. Does it look good? Right? Going a little bit further, so we talked about the budget, the marketing objective, the networks, the conversion goals. You're going to have to do that on your own. That's the hard part, right? But if you can read, spend some time, you can do it. I believe in you. For setting a target cost per action, leave it blank for now. If you know your business pretty well, you should know your target cost per action. That is the target cost per conversion. So how much you're willing to pay for a conversion on average. So let's say, for example, though, just keep this in mind. You're going to get leads. You might have a close rate of those leads of like 40% or so. So you're going to need like 2 to 3 leads per close rate. So keep that in mind, that your target cost per action is the target cost per conversion, and then you're going to have to close them on top of that. So if you are going to set that, just be careful. If you set it too low, you're not going to get any traffic on this. If you set it too high, you're going to spend a lot of money, which is, maybe good. All the other stuff I don't care about. We're going to scroll down to other settings. Make sure you have like everything else like turned off. Okay. Languages, make your primary language. Automatically created assets off. Start and end dates. I don't care about an end date. Start date is going to be whatever date. Broad match keywords off. Dynamic search settings off. Ad rotation, optimize, prefer best performing ads. Lead form settings should show no options set. Campaign URL options. You can go to, if you sign up with What Converts has a campaign URL template that you could just copy from the support article and paste in there. All the other stuff, you could just like not even touch. All right. After that, it's been 32 minutes in this podcast. Hopefully you've been hanging out with me. Hopefully you've been enjoying this particular podcast, because now you're ready to launch it. After you do everything like that, go to the recommendations tab. Almost all the recommendations I want you to dismiss. Google's going to try to give you recommendations to get you to spend more money. Dismiss them. Don't worry about it. If you followed all the instructions I mentioned previously, you should be okay. If you didn't follow the directions, then unfortunately, there's a lot of different recommendations here. Like I mentioned, most of them you should just be able to dismiss. But if you made a mistake, you'll probably know. You'll probably figure it out and look at the recommendation. But don't do broad match. Don't do any of that stuff. Don't add more search networks. Don't do any automated created assets or anything else. Next, go to Auction Insights. Sort by the last 30 days and look at your impression share compared to your competition. This is important to know because this tells you basically how much money you're kind of spending against the competition and who you're competing with. If you don't see your competition within this, one, the ad hasn't been going for that long, or two, you're advertising for the wrong stuff. So you should see your competition, and you should see your impression share, and you should be able to see your competitor's impression share for how much they're spending essentially compared to you. Just a little fun insight. Next, I want you to go to search terms, and I want you to sort by clicks on search terms. This is the most important part here. I want you to look at every single search term that you're seeing, and if you need to, copy the search term, paste it in a separate Google tab, and search it. Look at what the organic search results are. Google is going to try to give the user the organic search results that they want. So if the organic search results are your competition or you're on the right track. If it's something completely different, exclude the keyword. Click the little blue check box and then click add as a negative keyword because you don't want that keyword. Next, go to landing pages. After you do all that, go to landing pages. Your conversion rate is what I want to look at here. The conversion rate on your landing page minimum needs to be 2%. I like it to be at least 5%. Minimum 2. If it's not, you either didn't get enough traffic yet, or there's an issue with your landing page and the conversion tracking and people aren't actually converting. After that, the final thing that I want you to worry about is ads. Go to your ads every week. Look at the click-through rate. The click-through rate minimum needs to be 2%. I like it to be between 5 and 10%. That's my sweet spot. That's where I find it to be best performing. If you're doing everything that I just mentioned and you're checking that every single week, what you should notice is you're getting clicks, you're getting traffic, you have a good click-through rate, you have a good conversion rate, and you're actually getting leads for a decent cost. Now, you can't control the cost completely, right? Because again, going back to the very beginning, everything is an auction. So you're going to have months where it increases. You're like, man, this is expensive. And then you're going to have months, if you're persistent with it, that you're like printing money. Okay, so keep that in mind. Look at the amount of conversions that you're getting. Look at the cost per conversion. Listen to all the phone calls that you're getting and make any optimizations that you need to based on the phone calls. Maybe it's like you're getting lots of calls for X particular service and you realize it's from people searching this particular search term. That is it. That is the entire setup, everything you kind of need to know. I know I skipped over a couple different things that are like pretty important. I'm not gonna lie, like the landing page and the what convert stuff for the tracking. But honestly, like if I try to cover that in this particular podcast episode, I'm probably gonna lose half of you because of how technical and boring it might sound. But if this podcast does really well, if you guys all enjoy this, if you give me really good feedback on this, I will take that and consider it for making a podcast just about landing pages and just about conversion tracking so we can get you on the right track. If you are interested in working with a professional marketing agency, reach out to us. Go to wolfpackadvising.com/proposal. You can talk to one of our marketing experts there, get a feel for what's going on within your company, and they'll give you recommendations on what they would do if they were in your shoes. They're highly trained. I give them all my stuff to basically train them. They're like my people. Anyway, that's it for this episode. If you loved it, drop a rating, do all that fun stuff, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Alpha Marketing. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other business owners and marketers. Your support enables us to continue bringing you actionable advice and the tools you need to thrive. Join us next time for more insights with Aaron Shishilla, and keep striving to be the alpha in your market.